Hello, my name is AvXD, and in this video, I will be catching 100 Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Alright, so most of the clips you will see in this video was done back in November of 2020, and over 70% of the video was edited back in January. This video is a direct inspiration from Look the Notable, Brandon Tan 91, and Mystic 7. So I'd highly suggest you check them out after watching this video. With that out of the way, let's get back to AvXD from 2020. This video is about my experience on catching 100 Pokemon. It's just me documenting what I caught and what I get. As of now, when the video goes live, I might have caught more than 500 to 800 Pokemon. So if you'd like to see the next 100, just, let me know in the comments. But before we get to the video, a quick disclaimer and some rules. Sounds good, so let's go catching.
That's rather cringe, innit?
The first Pokemon that I caught is a Bulbasaur. Coincidentally, this is the first Pokemon in the Pokédex, so I'm glad. However, it took 3 tries before I could secure the catch. Nonetheless, I decided to check the stats and I was happy to see a decent 3-star Bulbasaur. Following that was another Bulbasaur with stats much greater than the first one. As I continued to walk, I found a Cyndaquil, but sadly after giving it a berry and 2 tries with a Pokeball, it fled. Along the road, I was able to find another Bulbasaur. This one, however, had lower stats than the first 2, so I transferred it. As I opened my completed field research task, a wild Swablu appeared, but 1 berry and a nice curved Great Ball shot, I managed to capture it, but only with 2 stars on its stats, so I eventually transferred it. Just before crossing the street, I managed to get a Cubone, but it had pretty low stats, so obviously. The next Pokemon that I got was an Execute. It had low stats, so the deal. Passing by the area on a car as a passenger, I managed to capture another Execute, but with much lower stats than the other one. Slowly driving on the road, another Execute spawned. I managed to catch, and to much of my surprise, I finally caught a 3-star Execute. I eventually transferred it at some point of time because the next Execute I got had much higher stats. Knowing that I completed a field research task, I opened to take my rewards and a wild Dratini appeared. Yeah, you'll see those pop-up messages appear time to time, but I'll be, blurring it. Missing the throw in my first try, but getting it on the second, I eventually caught a 3-star Dratini. One Cubone later, and bad stats. The next Pokemon I caught is a Paras, but I'm not looking for a 2-star Pokemon, so yeah. Another Bulbasaur, but it fled. I guess you have to blame it on the pop-up messages appearing on the screen. Miss Dravus. Good CP, but bad stats. Now inside the park, I caught a Piplup, then I transferred it because, Second Miss Dravus. Oh my gosh. Pop-ups just go away. It brings bad luck. Dratini! But not as good as the previous one. One really bad Bulbasaur later. Don't ask. I I drop something in real life? High CP execute, but low stats. One Roggenrola. Through the first Pokeball, miss. Second Pokeball, jumps. Seriously. Would have kept it if it was a Hundo. On my third research task, I caught a Cubone. But we know what happens to 2-star Pokemon. Cyndaquil! Maybe I'd catch the Cyndaquil. Blech. Maybe I'd catch the Cyndaquil. I almost completely forgot to screen record this part, but trust me, it will actually happen later on another raid. Anyway, with 2 good friends on a raid, we managed to easily beat an Alolan Marowak. With 18 Premier Balls, this was gonna be easy. 1 Nana Berry, and on the first throw, I catch my first Alolan Marowak. And I get to keep it, because it's a 3-star. Just after the raid, I spot a Scyther. 1 Nana Berry, a miss, a great throw, and I eventually caught it. But with 2 stars, I transferred it. Next to the gym was another Execute, and I catch it on my 4th throw. But with bad stats, it had to go. I found another Scyther next to the gym, but with low stats and high CP, it had to go too. Instantaneously, a Castform appeared, with a decent CP but low stats. Following it up, a Wild Spearow appeared. When I caught it after giving it a Pineapple Berry, it only had 2 stars on its stats, so I transferred it. Just next to me was a Bulbasaur with a CP of 806. 1 great Curve Toss and I captured the Pokemon. But with only 2 stars, I took the liberty to transfer it obviously. In front of me was a Spearow with pretty much nothing on its stats. Completing 3 field research tasks and acquiring 10 Pokeballs, I opened my 3rd Pokemon encounter of the day, and a Misdreavus appeared. Clearly missing my first 2 throws, I eventually captured it on my 3rd, but with only 2 stars, it had to go. Somewhere along the pond sign, a Piplup appeared. With a Pineapple Berry and a nice throw, I managed to capture it. But with a low CP and stats, I had to transfer it. Second Piplup in a row, missed it on the first, but second was a critical great throw catch. With a high CP, hopefully comes with good stats, right? But no. As you can see now, I caught a Shadow Weedle. I pressed the recording button a bit too late, didn't I? But doesn't matter, I transferred it immediately. The same exact situation happened with Zubat. Shadow and low stats, you know the deal. Walking back to the gym, a Wild Wurmple appeared. 1 nice throw later and I got it, but in a few moments, I put it away. While walking to another gym, a Bulbasaur appeared. With 2 tries, I managed to get it, but it had low stats. Approaching the gym, I caught an Execute. After several tries and misses, I caught it, but it only had 2 stars. After passing the gym, a good Spearow appeared, but it fled. Near a Pokestop, I was able to catch a semi-decent Paras, but it had bad stats. Following that was an Anorith, but it wasn't any good at all. Cool, more Dratinis. 1 Great Ball and I captured it, but it was too weak to be kept. Another Piplup and a great throw. Poor stats, yikes. A really good CP for an Execute, but sadly 2 stars. Animation, weak, reward, encounter. I have not caught an Ivysaur, so this was the first one. Though it had 2 stars, I kept it. Oh hi, future AvXD here. I transferred it. You know why. After conquering the gym with no video clip of that, I caught a Scyther and a Wurmple back to back. However, low stats, so I eventually transferred both of them. On the same area, I caught a Bulbasaur. Finally, it had good CP and stats, 3 stars, and I believe that's more than 90 IV. Next to the Bulbasaur was a Spearow. With one throw, I was able to capture it, but with low stats, I eventually transferred it. Following that, I caught a Paras, which took 6 attempts and 3 misses. With 2 stars, I transferred it. Was it worth it? Completing my next field research, a Ghastly appeared. I missed twice, but with a great throw, I eventually caught it. A good CP and 3 stars. I'll keep it. Minutes later, I caught a Scyther, but I had to transfer it because it had nothing good at it. Second Animation Week reward encounter. I managed to get a 3-star Snorlax with max attack stats. Halfway there to the first 100 catches, I catch my 10th Execute in one throw with a Pineapple Berry. But with low stats, I had to put it away. Although the Paras I got was decent, it had 2 stars. As much as I want to keep it, I just had to let it go. 2 consecutive Bulbasaurs, which both sucked, but the first one was better than the other one. Next to them was a Wurmple, in which I knew in the moment I pressed it, it was going to be bad. What happened to Wurmple happened to Piplup. Catching my 5th Paras and my luck suddenly turned around. Nice. I had the same feeling that this Wurmple I caught was bad as the previous one, and it was. On the next 3 clips, I managed to not fully record the process of catching the Pokémon. You may think it's a bit sus, but trust me, check the date, you'll see I caught them. First was a Snorlax from a raid I did with my friends. If you've seen a few clips ago, there was a gym with a Snorlax on it. I obviously kept it. Second was a Paras next to the gym with 2 stars. It was for the best to let it go. Third was the Lugia raid. Yep, I forgot to record. If you saw that Mystic gym that had a counter timer with a 5-star raid egg, that's where I got it. I wish I recorded because it was a Hundo. Hundo is an informal term which means 100, which shows I have a legendary max stat Pokemon. Can't ask for more cause this was my first Lugia. Anyway, back to the next catches. Near me was a Scyther, 1 miss and a great throw. I eventually captured it and then transferred it. Next was a Growlite, which was given a Raspberry before it was caught, but with low stats, I eventually transferred it. Moments later, I caught another Execute, but in a few moments, I put it away. Following that was a Wurmple with a low CP but a decent 2-star stat, but it's 2 stars, you know what it means. Finally, something different for the day, a wild Phanpy. What? Finally, something different for the day, a wild Phanpy. Is that how you pronounce it? But sadly, it didn't have the stats I was looking for. Next to that was another Execute. I transferred it. I gave a Pineapple Berry to the Piplup, but after catching it, it needed to go. With a high CP Paras next, I was hoping it had good stats, but it wasn't enough to let me keep it. Following that was a Growlite facing the same situation. Bye. After not being able to catch a Cyndaquil earlier, my expectations for catching this one was low, but after hitting it twice with no luck, my 3rd shot was the one that took it home. And I did not hesitate to transfer it when I saw its stats. Following that is a slow motion of me catching the Execute. I didn't press the video on time as well, so it counts. But it does not mean I keep it. Walking by the pond again, I managed to catch a wormpole with only 2 stars. First throw on a low CP Piplup with poor stats. Transferred. Catching 2 executors consecutively. Both had to be transferred. Thanks for the 8 candies. Caught a Cubone, 2 stars, oh well. The second Cyndaquil that I caught did not even make the cut to be in my Pokemon inventory. Spearow with 2 stars. Trying to catch a Cyndaquil, but it fled. Catching a Cider, but I keep missing. Eventually I got it, but I transferred it. Caught a 2-star Cyndaquil which took 5 tries. You know what that means. A Paras that fled. Yup, it fled. Following Paras was a 2-star Sandshrew. I transferred it, obviously. Next to it was a Bulbasaur. It fled after trying to catch it for 12 times, but missed 8 of those shots. Likewise, the next one was a Bulbasaur, which is the 10th Bulbasaur I captured for the day. But it had to be transferred because of its stats. I just activated an instance, and a number of Pokemon started appearing, including a Cubone, which I caught, then transferred. Now, I encountered a really high CP Growlithe, sort of, but after capturing it, I noticed that its stats were pretty low, so I had to let it go. Third animation, week, reward, encounter. I managed to get a 3-star Venonat with a decent stats. Following that was another encounter after completing the next stage of the animation week rewards. This time, it was a Scyther, and I managed to catch one, but it only had 2 stars. Moving on was a Cubone, which had 2 stars. Next to that was a Bulbasaur with 2 stars. And then a Cyndaquil with 1 star. After conquering the gym nearby, I tried catching a Bulbasaur, but after being able to hit my shot twice, it broke free and fled. Next to that was a good Dratini with really good CP, but I'm not sure where I got it. Nonetheless, it was particularly weak. Walking back to the entrance of the park, I managed to capture and execute, but released it due to its low stats. From the instance, a Wormpole appeared, and in one shot I caught it. 2 stars only though. Continuing my walk, I used a Great Ball to catch a 3-star Cubone, with an average CP level. Following that, a Drillbur appeared. After using a Great Ball to capture it, it had to go. On the next catch, I caught a Piplup in 3 throws. It, however, was weak. Next to the gym was a Cacnea with a high CP. But when I caught it, I immediately transferred it. After Cacnea was an Execute. After 2 tries, I captured it, but I had to let it go, even if it was too close. As more Pokemon appear, I decided to catch a Cyndaquil, which took around 2 tries and 2 misses. However, it had to go. The next Pokemon I caught is a Paras, which marks my 100th catch of the video. How I wish it was a 3-star. Alright, you've reached the outro. Great. Thank you for watching this video. Most of it was filmed back in November, as I said earlier, but I didn't want to really upload it because I wasn't sure if I should upload it back in January, February, so I decided not to until now. whenever you're watching this, whenever it was uploaded, probably on the summer of 2021. But yeah, I don't expect to make this Pokemon Go video again, but if people seem to like it, then sure, I would try again. I don't think so, but yeah, I guess that's about it. I'll see you in the next.